Okay, fine. I started the recording. So till now, what we have covered? Till now, basically, we understood if we have a source A, source one, and if we have a source two, right? Source one, source two. Okay. And source one can be your computer, can be any on-premise server, right? Source one can be anything, right? Your on-premise server, for example, it is on-premise server or cloud server, for example, right? And then your source two can be anything. Your source can be data lake, for example, right? Now, if we use data factory, if we use data factory, ADF, data factory, Azure data factory, how we can move the data from one place to another, right? So currently we have understood how to make a connection using link service and integration runtime, how ADF can make a connection to cloud and how ADF can make a connection to data lake. That we have understood, right? But today we will basically understand like and also to copy the data from one place to another, we need a copy data activity, right? We need a copy data activity which can copy the data from one place to another, which is a data movement activity. So yesterday we also understood what is data set pipeline activity and then copy data activity. We just try to move the data from input container to output container. But today we will understand this copy data activity in a detailed fashion, which helps you to move the data from one place to another, right? So we will go through details of copy data activity now. So I'm opening data factory now. Okay, and here suppose if I'm going to storage account, I am going to my this storage account. So I open this data lake storage. Okay. Now let's do the following. So what we will do today, we will understand the copy data activity, okay, in a detailed fashion. I will paste a copy data activity. Okay. So first of all, let's do very simple operation. The same one which we have done yesterday. From input to output container, one file. Okay. So what I will do, what is my source? I want to move the data from input container. From here, I will move the file. Suppose this department CSV, I will move to the output container, simple operation which we have done yesterday as well, right? Over here I will try to move, I will delete this first. So I am performing a very simple operation. copy the data from input container to output container. So here I will go to the source. I will define data lake, CSV file because my file is CSV. Select the storage account. Select the file, input, folder, department.csv. First row as a header, input schema is none, right? I told you we will always select this. Data lake gen 2, CSV file, sync. This is the link service, then output container. Here we will move the file, right? Here we will move the file with the name department.csv. Okay, first row as a header, import schema is none. Click OK. Then I will run this. Okay. Now this copy has been completed, right? This copy has been completed. Here, if I refresh this, I can see the data. Here I can see my data. Right? Department ID, department ID name. Okay. 1 second, I received the call. So yeah, so we move the data from source to sync. We move the data from source to sync, right? And now, but suppose now my requirement is different, right? My requirement is
Abhishek,
different. Yes.
Abhishek, one
Yes.
question I have. Can you please go to the sync section? Suppose we want to changes. I mean, want to do some changes in sync section. Okay. I mean, folder. We need to change the folder section where we can change it.
Folder structure means you want to make a folder here.
No, mm, my question is that when we configure the sync section, we gave some folder name, right?
We haven't given any folder name.
In that structure.
Here we given output container name, folder we haven't given anything.
Okay, output. Achha, this is 5%. Okay. Okay. Actually, I am trying to copy from MySQL to Gen storage. It's not working actually.
So can we take it after I complete this? Then you show me, then I will help you.
Sure,
Okay.
no problem.
So yeah, so currently suppose in the sync section, I want to do something. I want to suppose uh, I have department ID here, right? And name here. So I want to interchange the column. For example, suppose if you have 100 column, then you want to uh, interchange the column structure. Okay. So how to do it? For example, I want to make name column first, department ID second, for example, right? Or suppose if you have some other data, for example, let's choose some other data. So here, instead of department ID, I will choose some other data, which is like employee data, for example, so that it's more clear. Suppose I will choose employee data here. And here I will try to copy employee data. Over here, I will copy employee data, employee.csv. Okay, here if I refresh this, my employee file is there, right? So here if I go, now suppose there are so many columns, right? But I want basically manager ID in the first. For example, I want manager ID in the first or gender in the first. I want to interchange the column. That's all, right? So how to do this? So here if I go, I need to go to the mapping feature, and here I can import the schema. And now here I can say that I want basically your manager ID first. So suppose in place of gender, I will select manager ID, vendor ID, and then here I will select gender so that gender is mapped over there. Okay. So you can interchange the column as you want. Okay. The column can be interchanged. So if I change like this, if I run it, then in my final table, in my this table, that change will happen. Okay. So now while copying, data factory will basically interchange the column and then copy it. Okay? Now here if I go, if I open this, if I open this, if I refresh this, see manager ID came first, right? Manager ID came first. So this is how you can interchange the column, interchange the column. And also suppose I want to do something else, right? I don't want to interchange the column. Instead, I want to delete the column. Okay. I don't want to interchange the column. I basically want first name, last name, and date of birth. And beside that, I am not interested in anything else. I just want first name, last name, date of birth. Okay, I just want this. From my source, I just want to copy 3 columns. I don't want to copy anything else. So if I run this now, if I come here, if I refresh this, first name, last name, date of birth. Okay. So this is how you can interchange the column and also you can delete the column. Okay. Now, one more important thing to note. So suppose yesterday I told you, right? If I click on the white space, right, uh, left click on this white space, then this is basically your pipeline setting. Whatever will come here, it is a pipeline setting. If I click on the copy data activity, this is the copy data activity setting. Okay. Now, if I open this, this is your dataset setting. Whatever you do here, this is the dataset setting. If I click over here, if I open this, this is the dataset setting, right? Now, your copy data activity setting is this, right? But it depends upon this settings. So suppose if I choose a SQL here, right? So if I choose a SQL here, source as SQL, for example. So here I will choose source as my SQL database. So this setting will change, right? So your source, this setting is changing, right? If I choose SQL, then this setting is changing. So your copy data activity setting will change as per the source. And it's quite understood as well, right? So if you basically choose SQL, then there should be a query, stored procedure, all of that. But if you choose normal source, that should be like this, right? And also source, and suppose if I'm choosing same kind of a source, so here also data lake, here also data lake, then these settings are also different, right? So this setting will also differ from source to sink. Mapping we have understood. Mapping generally we used to delete the column or interchange the column, right? Now let's come to general tab. In the general tab, I can write the copy data activity name. So suppose I can write copy department file. Okay, this I can write. I can write more description here, like more detailed description if I want to. Okay. Now suppose there you
Ajay,
have
uh,
this. Yeah.
one question here. Is there any, I mean, pattern followed while we are writing a name, or like in Java we use camel case when we define variables, or uh, class name is starting from um, big character. Okay,
Yeah.
is there is there any standard format here for I mean any nomenclature, right?
Yeah. Yes, there is. 1 second. I am sending a document in the group.
Okay.
Okay, so whenever we are creating a pipeline, whenever we are creating a data set, um, there is a standard naming convention which we can follow, and I have sent you the document of it, so you can go through it, and then accordingly you can name your pipeline data set also. So this naming convention is for everything. Okay, so but like you can just for now consider this pipeline and data set naming convention which I have sent you. So generally your pipeline name should be descriptive. It should be like from the pipeline one, I should be able to, currently I'm not focused, currently I'm not naming the things properly, but like going forward we can do it together, right? That's not a problem. So your pipeline name or your copy data names should be in a more descriptive manner so that it is understood. Okay, so check out the document which I have shared with you in the group. Okay, and then accordingly we can name the pipeline. Okay, and it depends on company to company as well, but this is the standard practice which you can follow. And then there is a, like this particular document which I have sent you is aligned to Microsoft documentation as well, so I can send you the Microsoft documentation of naming convention as well, so it's aligned with that right now. Okay, so check out that document now. So suppose here we can write the name of the copy data activity, we can write a more detailed description. And suppose if I have two copy data activity, for example, right? So suppose here I am moving from source to sync again here. Okay. I have two copy data activity, right? And now if I want to run both of them at once, I can just run this debug and both of them will run. So both of them started at once, right? One's got successful, one's got failed, right? But now suppose I want to, like, as it is failing, I don't want to run this, so I can deactivate this. So suppose though I want to trigger the pipeline, but I don't want to run this, so I can deactivate this by right click, activate, deactivate. And also you can deactivate from here, right? So here I can go general, activate, deactivate. You can just activate, deactivate it from here as well. Okay. So currently suppose I'm deactivating it. Okay. Now if I run this, then it will only trigger this copy data activity, it will not trigger this one. So see, this is showing it is not active. And also suppose if I want to run this particular pipeline this particular copy data activity once it is successfully completed. Okay, so once this is successfully completed, then only run this, for example, right? So I will attach it with the success. Once this is completed, then only run this. Okay, suppose in the first copy data activity, you are copying the data from MS SQL to data lake input container, and in second copy data activity, you are copying the data from input container to output container. So in that case, the second copy data activity cannot run if you don't run the first copy data activity, right? So you will attach it with the completion, right? And then suppose this is on the failure. So suppose like you want to run the second copy data activity only and only if this is a failure, right? Then only you want to run this. Then you will attach like this. And you will attach like this when both of the copy data activity, like if either it is successful or failure, you don't care about it. You want to run the second copy data activity anyways. Then you will attach it with the completion. Okay. So suppose if I design my pipeline like this, and if I attach like this, right, then this will not run. Why? Because this first will fail and then second will not run, because it is on the completion only it will run. Okay, so 1 second, I done some mistake, I guess. Why both started successfully completed. So it was failing, right? This was failing due to some reason, but now it's successfully completed. Okay, I will try to fail this so that I can show you guys. Yeah, so it's failed. Suppose it's failed, then the second copy data activity haven't started, right? Because we have attached with the success. But if I attach like this now with the failure, then it will get triggered.
Abhishek, during the run, where we can see the logs.
Here you can see why it failed, that you can see here. And also in the monitor tab, you can see it. Over here, what are the things you are running? In the debug
Okay,
mode, in the trigger.
okay.
Okay, fine. So this is how you can success, failure, and completion. And also suppose here if I go source description activated, deactivated, what is timeout error? So suppose when you are running this pipeline, right? And then you noticed that this pipeline, this particular copy data activity is taking 5 minutes, it's taking 10 minutes, right? Then you can set the timeout error as 20 minutes just for the 10 minutes buffer, and then you can set a timeout error of 20 minutes so that you can understand if any abnormality happens in this particular copy data activity, right? So if it is taking 5-10 minutes but it automatically started taking like half an hour, then you can track down it and you can throw a timeout error. Okay, so this is by default 12 hours, but you can change it to whatever time you want, right? So this is how you can use a timeout error. And then if So this particular thing, timeout is being used, but not retry interval. I haven't used it, but I will just try to elaborate. Retry is basically how many times you need to retry if it is giving a timeout error, and in which interval you need to retry, after 30 second, after 60 second, after 2 minutes. Okay, so if it is a timeout error, then how many times it needs to retry and in which interval it needs to retry. Okay, so this is how you can set it up. Now let's come here to the important part. So here now we will understand what is this wildcard file path, what is this list of file, and what is this recursive. Okay, so suppose if I go here now, okay, now I have a requirement to basically not move one file. I want to move all the file which starts with the department, I want to move all the file, right? Only the file which starts with department, right? So how to do this? I can choose wildcard file path. Okay, and here I will give input folder, so I will give that folder name, input, and then folder. Okay, where my files are present, in input container, and inside the input container I have a folder. Inside the folder it is present. And what is my wildcard name? Wildcard name is department star. I want to move everything which is department, starts with department, so I will give department star in that case. Okay, and then in the sync I will remove everything. I will not give any file name because I am moving multiple file, so giving the file name doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm removing everything from here, and mapping is also not needed. Okay, so we have given folder department star. Okay, and here also you don't need to give any file name, it's not needed, nothing is needed here, so it's okay, right? Okay, now validate means everything seems fine, now we can run it. Okay, everybody is okay with the setting. Wildcard file path folder. Okay, source container name we need to give, so I will give the container name input, and that's all. So that input is written here, input folder department star, that's all. Validate, everything seems fine, let's run it. Done. Now if I let's go to the output container, check whether it got moved or not. So output, okay, why? Let's check the sync data set. Okay, strange. 1 second, something is wrong.
I think that spelling of department.
Yeah, department. Okay, thank you. So here I will remove this so that we understand. Yeah, so let's run this now.
Mhm.
Okay. Now let's go to output. See, all the file with department came, right? Now suppose if you have a different requirement, you are saying that Abhishek, I'm not interested in first name. I'm not interested in suffix. I am interested in prefix. Okay. So I want to basically move all the file which ends with star.csv. Suppose I will also move here JSON file, XML file, everything I will move, and then we will try to copy only CSV files. Okay. Yeah, here if you see, now we have a JSON file, XML file as well, right? And I only want to move star.csv file, star. Okay, all the CSV file. Right now, if you do this, so suppose wildcard file path we have seen, either you can use it with suffix or you can use it with prefix. Right now, what is list of file? Any doubt in wildcard file path, please?
Abhishek, in the case of file name, like you have written department or the department file, so copy from X to Y, right?
Hmm.
In that case, we should name write the complete name, or if you write DPART star, it will work.
No, complete name is not required. If you write DAPR, then
Star.
then if you have some name DAPR ABCD, that also will got moved in that case.
No, my question is that suppose you have 5 department classes, I mean department file, right?
Hmm.
And you here we are writing DPART star.
Hmm.
Will that work? I mean, will that copy the file from X to Y?
Yes,
Oh.
it will copy, but what I'm trying to say is if you have a file like this, which is this will also get moved. That
Okay, got
case.
it. Got it. I mean, after certain matching character, it will
Yeah.
take the file.
Now, what is list of files? So suppose I am not interested to move either all the CSV file or the or the file which starts with department. I basically want to move one department file, one employee file, and one sample data. That is what I want to do. Okay, and for that you can use list of files. So suppose I will make a list of file which is your one department, one employee, and one sample data. Okay, so here I will upload this particular metadata can be anywhere, but here suppose I am uploading this metadata in the input container, for example. is a text file? One second. One second, guys. I'm a bit confused. Why it's I want to save this in the CSV. Yeah, this one. So here if I go upload it, and then here I can select the file. If I go here, I can select the file. Okay. But this time you need to also mention which directory you are referring to. Okay. So here you are basically referring to input folder, this directory, right? So I will select this directory. And then in the sync, we are not anyways giving anything, right? But let's put list of file here, list of file, so that it's moved to a different directory, and then we can understand what is list of file. Successful. Now here let's go. Here let's go to output container. Let's open list of file. Input department employee sample data, right? What we have mentioned. So this is how we can use a list of file, right? Wildcard file path we have seen list of file. Now we will see recursive option. But suppose now what is recursive? So suppose if I go to input container, and then here I have like a folder, and inside that folder I have another folder, for example folder 1, and inside this folder I have another folder which is suppose folder 2. Okay, here only we created, but anyways let's create inside this folder 2, and after this I have suppose folder 3. Okay, so inside the folder 1 I have some file here. Here also some files. But this folder is empty, for example, right? So what I want to do, I want to recursively copy all the folder. So I want files, all the files from here, all the files from here, all the files from here, everything I want, right? So for that we can use recursive option, right? Recursive option. And I will give recursive as star.csv because I want to copy all the CSV file. Okay, now if I go here, if I go to output, if I go to, yeah, so list of file only we have like in, I haven't changed it, so it copied to the same folder. So here if you see folder 1 is there, then folder 2 is there, folder 3 is not there, right? And also let me open it in the same tab so that you can understand it. So here in the folder, like we can see this, we can see folder 1, right? We can see folder 1, but folder 2 we are not able to see. Why? Because there is no file. Okay, so that is why it haven't copied. So empty folder won't be copied. Okay, if we are not able to see this. Why? Because this is not CSV file. Everything which is present here in the different Parquet format. Okay, so it will not copy this as well because we have given star.csv. Now if you see folder 1, right? If I open folder 1, then folder 2 is there, department.csv is there. Folder 2 department.csv. If I open 3, if I open this folder 3 employee.csv. If I open this, folder 3 is not there. Why? Because it's an empty folder. So it will copy all the folder but not the empty folder, right? So this is how you can use a list of file. Sorry, this is how you can use a recursive. And when you choose a list of file, recursive option won't be there, right? Any doubt on this, guys? Okay, now what I will do, I will select this particular option, one file path, and I will publish this. Now we were debugging the pipeline before, right? So if I just debug it, I can see the debug run. Okay, but I can trigger the pipeline as well. So we will see how to schedule a trigger for a particular time. But suppose I want to trigger now. So I can use this trigger now option to trigger the pipeline now. Okay. And this, if you trigger the pipeline, you will see it over here, okay, in the triggered tab. Okay, so here you can see the trigger run. Trigger run is there, right? If you open it, you can see the details of it. What was the input? What was the output? What is this? Okay, you can understand the details of it, right? Now, I want to describe this user property. For example, if I just trigger the pipeline, if I open this, okay. Now, if I go to user property, there is nothing. But suppose I want to understand in my copy data activity, what is my source? So I need to open this, then I need to go here, then I need to open this, then I need to go here, and then I will be able to understand, right? So instead of that, I want to make this process easy for better understanding the pipeline over there only, right? So I can auto generate this user property and I can add a few more user property. This user property, you can write anything. It basically for you only, right? So I can write anything over here. I can write developed by Abhishek, a project KPI, anything I can write so that like project KPI. So it's like for better debugging and for better understanding, right? So here I can write for a user. So for name itself is saying you, it's for a user. Okay. So here I can write anything which is for you. Okay. So now if I trigger it now, if I trigger it now, if I go to user property now, I can see it over here itself. I don't need to go to that window. Okay, so this is a user property. This is how you can use a user property. Now, now what is basically now I have explained you list of file, wildcard, user property, mapping, deleting a column, interchanging a column, recursive, all of that I haven't explained you, right? But now I want you guys to practice few of the things by yourself, okay? And I am giving you that what are the things you can practice. If you don't have any doubt, if you have any doubt, you can ask me now, or else I will ask you further things now.
Abhishek, in the I mean, above the copy data, there is a debug, validate, copy runtime, add trigger. Validate and debug we can, we know now, but validate, copy runtime, and add trigger, where we can use that.
Validate copy runtime. Copy runtime integration. I guess it's the integration runtime. 1 second. This option I also haven't used, so I need to also check it. Like when to use validate uh, validate this uh,
Runtime.
like copy runtime. Yeah, so I will let you know in the next class. Okay, don't worry.
And what
But
about the
I
trigger?
yeah. Add trigger is I told you, right? So this trigger is being used to basically, like, suppose once you design the pipeline, if you want to trigger at a particular time, so generally you will not trigger it manually, right? You will basically trigger it at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 2 p.m. yesterday, tomorrow, all of that you will do, right?
Even
So
kind
in
of
that,
batch processing from
everything
timing.
whatever we are doing right now is batch processing. But suppose like you have a Walmart, like you are fetching the data for Walmart, for example. So
Mhm.
you have designed a pipeline to move the data from their on-premise server to Azure cloud.
Mhm.
And as Walmart store is getting closed at 8 p.m. in the night, you want to refresh the pipeline at 11 p.m. directly. So
Okay.
you have designed a pipeline, a copy data pipeline to copy the data from on-premise server to Azure cloud.
At
Now you
11 p.m.
cannot come yeah, so you cannot come daily, right? 11 p.m. to trigger it by yourself. So you will design a trigger that which can automatically trigger at 11 p.m.
Okay, okay. This kind of okay. Got it.
Yeah. So those triggers I will cover in the coming classes, in which I will describe about how many types of triggers are there and how you can use it. Okay.
Okay.
Any other doubt, guys? This validate copy runtime I will let you know in the next class.
Abhishek, I had one doubt. Uh, so are we going to cover SSIS integration runtime also to
No,
migrate?
no,
Okay. Okay.
no, I will not cover this. And like, are you using this SSIS integration runtime in your project?
I mean, I'm using SSIS, but I wanted to see like how do we migrate it to cloud? That's the reason.
Yeah, so SSIS, like SSIS integration runtime, I won't be teaching during the class. And reason being, I also haven't used SSIS integration runtime. So I won't be teaching that during the class. I will just cover self-hosted integration runtime and auto-resolve integration.
Okay. Other thing was like we saw this copy data activity for flat files now, but like are we going to see that for SQL also? Because a
Yeah,
reason,
yeah, yeah. Yes,
yeah.
yes, I will teach SQL. Yes.
Okay.
But the
Uh,
procedure is same. Like if you just know this, the procedure will be same. But in the coming classes, I will show you the different things which you can do with SQL as
yeah. I mean specifically for SQL, like how can we use variables or parameters
yeah,
if we
yeah, yeah.
that?
Parameters also I will cover in the coming classes. How to parameterize. So this is not parameterized. So I will teach how to parameterize the copy data activity.
Okay. And one last thing. So I wanted to understand, like when they say that they are moving the data from on-premise to cloud, so let's say we have this warehouse where we already have like our like transformed final fact and dimension tables, right? So in that situation, when they are moving to cloud, they obviously won't be moving to data lake, right? So in that situation, what they do, like do they directly move it to like Azure SQL or I mean,
They move it to data lake first.
okay.
Suppose there is two kinds of thing which they can do.
Uh-huh.
Either they migrate the data completely, like they won't be using the SQL after the migration. So that is a data migration. For that, you can just migrate once. For that, you can directly migrate to Azure SQL. But suppose if your requirement is that like they specifically want some sort of data to be there in the cloud, not all
Mm-hmm.
of the data, because they have some finance dashboarding they want to do, for
Yeah,
example, then in
right.
that case they will use data lake, because they want to maintain in the data lake, they can keep the history of whatever loads they are doing daily, and from data lake they will move to Azure SQL or SQL warehouse.
Yeah, and if they want to completely do it, like they'll have to create everything from scratch, like getting extracting from source and everything, because ETL and all would be there in on-premise. So how they will do it?
So
Like,
ETL you can do here as well, right? So you can directly in the source you can define your SQL database, and in the sink you can define your final
yeah,
SQL database.
yeah. So like basically everything from scratch they would be doing if they want like entire migration.
Yes,
like
yes, they will
email
do
and all
into the,
everything they'll okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Any other doubt, guys? Okay, fine. So now I told you guys about this the settings, different settings, but beside that, if you guys, if you can practice other settings by yourself, that would be great, so that you can also get some confidence. So what are the settings you can practice? I will tell you now. So here you can practice for blob storage. You will get two options, prefix and also wildcard. Prefix is nothing but what we have covered in department star, right? That is prefix. But in data lake Gen 2, they removed this prefix. Why? Because they thought that the both of the things can be like covered in wildcard, suffix and prefix, right? But there was a prefix option, but same thing, right? Department star, you can use this option and do it. Now, this particular option is, suppose if I want to move the file based on UTC now. So here if I go and then if I go here, then suppose here I basically want to move all the file between 9th of March to 10th of March, right? So I want to move all the file. I don't want to move the file which is older than that. So in that case, I can use this last modified date option. Okay. And one thing to notice, this is currently showing me in German time zone. And for you, it will be either the IST time zone or whatever time zone you are in, it will show in that time zone, right? But here you will need to give it in the UTC time zone. So please take care that into the consideration. Okay. So try this prefix and also try this UTC time conversion. And also, suppose I have shown you that how to how to delete a column and how to interchange the column. But suppose when you are moving the file, when you are moving the department file, you want to add an extra column with file name. So you can do it with the additional column option. So try to do this as well. Okay. So these are the homework for you guys which you can practice. So I will write the homework now. Homework would be try mapping, which is deleting a column and interchange the column. Okay, then basically try prefix, sorry, try wildcard, restore file, recursive, timeout error. Timeout error also I haven't shown you, but you can try it. And then try success, failure, success, failure, and completion tags. And then this I haven't shown you, so you can try this prefix in blob storage, in case of blob storage. Then you can try modified date thing, and then you can try additional column, add a column with department name. So try all of this, guys, and yeah. So once you try all of this, then tomorrow I will give you one more assignment which you can try. So not tomorrow, Monday I will give you a few more assignment which you can try, right? So that's all for today's, guys. Thank you for your time. If you don't have any doubt, then we can end this class. Siddheshwar, I guess you were trying something and then you
No,
failed, so you can share your
no,
screen.
I mean, I have fixed that issue. It's working now.
Okay, fine. Okay, guys. So thank you for your time. See you on Monday, 9:30 p.m. IST. We will meet on Monday. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.